Hey everyone, today we're discussing the heroes of Overwatch, and which one is the strongest, essentially. What if the characters were all put into one room and told to fight until only one remained? Who would be the victor? I'm sure this is going to get a bit subjective in how you interpret the lore and character strengths in general, but hopefully we can get a good idea. Be sure to drop your own thoughts down below. Let's first start off by clearing out some of the roster and considering which characters would fall first. Most of the support and DPS characters would be wiped out instantly in the mess of fighting, with many of them simply having less health than that of the tanks. Bastion is maybe the clearest character to fall as a standard Omnic. We see them in multiple different cutscenes, getting destroyed quite easily. Bastion appears to be one of the simpler Omnics that were meant to be more expendable. We know he has been upgraded a bit by Torb, and his minigun isn't nothing, but still, Bastion I think goes down quickly. Mercy likely would too, purely because she's not exactly built for combat. Her purpose is to be a medic. She is able to resurrect others, but this isn't exactly a useful ability in this circumstance. Brigitte is in a similar situation. Her low health and small amount of armor and slight strength of her shield would buy her a bit of time, but I think she wouldn't last too long either. Junkrat, despite his many explosives, would likely put out a lot of damage in a short duration of time, and probably enjoy himself quite a bit. But I don't think he would last very long with his little protection and his probable lack of plan. Lucio, I think, maybe would be able to dodge for a short while, but ultimately he would get caught out fast and fall too. His ability to heal with the use of music is also in question, I believe, in terms of canon. I'm not too sure. But in that case, it would just make him a guy with skates, so yeah. Now on to those who would survive initially, then fall shortly after. Mei, I think, would survive initially, because she could just wall herself off or freeze herself over, allowing the initial fight to blow over. After that though, I don't think she has much of a chance, with her relatively weak weapon and lack of armor or protection. Baptiste, despite being a support and having less armor and such, does have extensive training, the ability to heal himself effectively, and of course his immortality field. Although this won't let him live forever, it will allow negation of significant damage, so he would survive a little longer than some of the others before falling. Torbjorn is a talented engineer, and generally quite tanky character for a character who isn't a tank. His combined strength, armor, and intelligence would allow him to survive for a bit longer than some others, I think. His ability to let out molten lava also helps him out, and would allow him to output some damage before falling, his turrets being able to provide additional fire. Symmetra, I think, despite having a powerful tool in her ability to wield hard light, would be unable to last that long in the massive fighting. Her teleporter construction wouldn't do that much, and her turrets may serve as brief distractions. However, she largely would not be able to take on multiple people at once. Her photon barrier is impressive, and would likely allow her to last a little longer too. Moira would also survive a bit initially, with her ability to lifesteal and convert it into biotic energy that heals. She can also spawn orbs to help her out. Her main ability that would allow her initial survival before falling though would be her fade, allowing her to disappear and be briefly invulnerable. She would eventually get caught though, I think. But just like in gameplay, Moira would be a real pain. And it helps that she doesn't really have to aim. Ashe has the slight advantage of having Bob, which is why I think she would survive a little longer. However, we know that her, Bob, and her whole gang were beaten alone by Cassidy, making her not that strong lore-wise. Hanzo may seem quite powerful, with his ability to summon a spirit dragon. However, both in-game and in cinematics, the most this does is damage you badly, or drain your energy. This is his most powerful thing, I would say. Otherwise, he's just a guy with a bow. Most of the people we actually see him beat are just regular people. It also appears the dragon only moves in a straight line, which isn't exactly helpful. Tracer, despite having low health, is shown throughout cinematics to be a great survivor, able to speed up and reverse time. I think although she would not stand a chance at winning overall, she would last a little longer than some of the others, able to blink around, dealing damage where possible, and rewinding whenever things got critical, but she's probably not going to be able to take on some of the bigger characters like the tanks. It depends how much, I guess, you consider that she's restrained by rewind, but from cinematics and gameplay, it seems consistent, and she can't rewind that far back. Ana is a very experienced character who has survived a lot. I think although her biotic weaponry wouldn't allow her to deal enough damage to get close to winning, she would survive a long time, with her heals and ability to sleep others. Widowmaker is a character shown to be very proficient, but in a case like this where we have so many characters, many of them tanky, she wouldn't last that long, I don't think. She could evade and put in some good shots, but would eventually get caught, especially as she can't one-shot everyone. We now reach the point where about half the characters remain. From this point on, some of the stronger characters would begin to fall. Cassidy is a character that is shown to be able to survive some pretty unlikely situations. This isn't reflected particularly well in gameplay, but in cinematics and in the lore, we can see him being much more proficient. He takes on Ashe and her whole gang, despite being greatly outnumbered, and he does so without suffering injury of any kind. With his high noon, he's also the only character, seemingly, who can one-shot everyone, so that's definitely something to consider. Sojourn, I think, would survive to around the midpoint too, having a powerful weapon, able to rapid fire, and become a railgun. Her disruptor shot ability and her rocket slide also allow a lot of freedom to distract and move around. She was once captain of Overwatch, and so has good experience. She stands a good chance, but similar to the other DPS characters, falls down mainly just on health. She has a big advantage with many of her cybernetic upgrades though. Soldier 76 is a super soldier. We get a good gauge for his strength, I feel, during his cinematic, where he pretty much sits on top of a grenade and comes out largely unscathed. He just seems a bit achy afterwards. Purely for his years of experience, his endurance, and his decent ability to output damage, it would take a while for him to fall, I think, but he definitely would. Pharah is seemingly pretty powerful, being trained by her mother Ana, but also having a rocket launcher and suit of flying armor. She has good experience, and in-game she is strong too. I think purely for the factors of armor, flight, and explosives, she would last a while. Taken down only by some of the tank characters. Kiriko has a number of different abilities that make her quite strong. In her cinematic we see the extent of her power, her extremely fast movement, reflexes, ability to blink at will, and her fighting capability, all of which make her very strong and likely to last a while. The only thing weak about her is her health, but with her Afuda and Suzu, she can heal and briefly become invulnerable, making her able to avoid large amounts of damage. Her strongest ability is her summoning of the Fox Spirit, where speed is increased for all actions. Again, I think she would be strong, but ultimately her low health and lack of physical protection would let her down. Roadhog is another tough one, because I am not entirely sure how canon it is that he inhales some gas and suddenly regenerates himself and becomes more durable. Regardless, he is undeniably tanky and has a powerful scrap gun and a hook capable of incapacitating people. He is, however, slow, and I think the inaccuracy of his weapon would largely work against him. He would survive for a while, but eventually fall. Junker Queen is definitely strong, as seen in her cinematic, where she defeats the former Junker King, as well as other strong Junkers. Being in the position she's in, it means she's pretty much the strongest person in Junkertown, and is likely pretty up there out of all of the characters. Her main downside again is probably just lack of armor. Reinhardt is strong and has a large hammer. He has a suit of armor able to deflect hundreds of bullets, and an energy shield able to do the same. He can pin with his charge, and can shake people to the ground when swinging his hammer down with enough force. He is seen in his cinematics to mow through Omnics with ease, and can simply tank a lot. So Rein would last a while, I think, purely for his tankiness basically. His lack of support would eventually lead to his fall though, with him requiring to engage with his hammer primarily. He can't really fight at range, so that's definitely a downside. Zarya would last a while, I think, being the strongest woman on Earth, and in-game being able to tank a lot of damage. She also wields a particle cannon, able to deal damage, shield herself, and fire a graviton surge. which traps and damages people. She has a lot going for her. Her bubbles also assist in protection, but also making incoming fire more when output, which works to her advantage here. Overall, Zarya would definitely last a while before falling. D.Va has a powerful mech that repelled many Omnics. Her mech has fusion cannons, micro-missiles, is capable of flight, and has a defense matrix capable of negating incoming damage, even from spirit sources like Hanzo's dragon. D.Va of course can also self-destruct her mech, causing it to do considerable damage, which can defeat any hero in the game when in range. She can then further cool in more, making her very scary. Her only weakness is her time spent out of mech, where she is very weak as a regular person. Wrecking Bull is a highly intelligent hamster who created his own bull mech, fitted with weapons and the capability to enter high speeds without it becoming damaged. His biggest feat is likely his conquering of the Junkertown arena, where he defeated everyone. Purely just in-game, his ability to evade, cause damage, and also put up things like his shield will allow him to last quite a while. The final survivors would likely just be some of the physically stronger ones. However, one that isn't like this is Zenyatta. Zenyatta is a very interesting case, because although he's very weak in terms of health in-game, his ult does allow him to go literally immortal and invulnerable for a brief period of time. During this ultimate, he is transcending reality itself, so that's a thing. Zenyatta was also responsible for training Genji, and there's some voice lines suggesting that Zen has or would typically beat Genji during their training. Seeing how overpowered Genji is in lore, this I think would put Zen above, but due to Zen's lack of damage, his low in-game health, and the question of whether Transcendence is canon, I'm gonna put him a bit lower here. Also, even if he did transcend, it wouldn't mean he would win the fight. He would just dissipate, I think, and blend with reality itself. Orisa is a highly powerful robot, equipped with fusion weaponry, a powerful javelin that can pin and spin, and the ability to hold her ground and tank a ton of damage. She can also let out a huge amount of energy with her Terror Surge, where she spins her javelin and damages all in the area, which would be quite effective here. Orisa is powerful, and single-handedly is the defender of Numbani. Her main downside is her slow movement, I would say, but I think she would last a while. Reaper is a tough one, as I believe he is technically immortal, able to deconstruct and reconstruct himself at will. However, he doesn't exactly seem that strong when watching the cinematics, where he is the repeated punching bag of Winston. It's a case where I think he would survive to the end of the fight, purely because of this ability. Reaper can steal health away from enemies as he causes damage, of which he can output a lot. So that would help him to win the fight, I think. He also has 2 high-powered shotguns that he can repeatedly materialize. His main ability that makes him so proficient, though, is his Wraith form, where he becomes invulnerable, becoming a mist, and is able to move through other characters. Sombra is a powerful character, but a different kind of powerful. Talking purely combat-wise, I don't think she's close to being strongest. However, it's unclear if her hacking ability in-game isn't far stronger outside of its function as a game mechanic. Say she could permanently shut down every character's ability, for example. Her EMP would make a lot of heroes kind of bad. She can go invisible, teleport about, and hack, and so could likely evade for a long time before needing to engage at all, and just let the whole thing play out basically. She would be vulnerable if a stray swing or shot happened to hit her, which would reveal her. She could do a lot of damage, but once revealed would quickly fall. Genji, we see the extent of his power in the 0-hour cutscene, where he deflects like a huge missile. And then slices this giant Omnic hand in half. Genji was also trained by Zenyatta, and was trained from a young age, and also some more in Overwatch. He defeats Hanzo, and can summon a spirit dragon himself, which he can wield to even manipulate other spirit dragons. His reflexes are also so fast that he can deflect pretty much every kind of projectile with his blade. So yeah, Genji is kind of OP. However, there are a few characters I think could beat him. Echo is a powerful powerful robot, inbuilt with a high-tech evolving AI. She can fly, and has an array of powerful weapons. She is also able to replicate anything she interacts with, taking on their abilities, even to the extent of spirit powers, and highly powerful ults. Afterwards, able to fly away and survive. This all makes her very menacing, and pretty near to unkillable. She can learn, adapt, and evolve, and deal a significant amount of damage. Ramatra is a highly powerful Omnic, equipped with a Void Accelerator and the ability to summon additional larger arms that pummel enemies. He can summon a swarm of nanobots around him that eat away at enemies, and seem to continuously feed him and allow the nanobots to last even longer. So in a big fight like this, it would be practically permanently. He has training with the Shambali, and is the leader of Null Sector. He generally seems like a pretty big threat. His power exactly is unclear, but I would bet on him surviving for a long time before his fall. Doomfist is a character with quite the reputation, and is probably best known for the leveling skyscraper line, and for being the leader of Talon. He is also known for defeating Tracer, Genji, and Winston in a fight, only finally pushed back when Winston lets out his primal rage, overpowering him. He is widely feared, and for good reason it seems. We can see the extent of his power in defeating both Tracer and Genji, but also a whole army of OR-15 robots. Doomfist is really strong, and pretty scary, but I don't think he would last the longest, falling before some others. The final two therefore comes down to both Sigma and Winston. Now let's talk through why I think these two would end up here. Winston is the one character we know that defeated Doomfist, and Doomfist is supposedly one of the most powerful characters, and if Winston beat him, that means he's probably even stronger. Although it does seem Doom was weakened after his fight with both Genji and Tracer, making Winston's victory easier. Winston is tough to place too because most of the interactions we see are with him teamed up with other Overwatch members. He notably defeats Reaper multiple times though, as well as Widowmaker. His intelligence combined with his pure strength and ability to simply tank so much damage makes him one of the characters that would survive to the very end. However, I don't think he would be the winner. I think that would probably be Sigma. Sigma, purely in his in-game abilities, is strong, able to absorb damage and turn it into shields, cast a shield out for protection, and also fire out his hyperspheres, which he can repeatedly summon. His kinetic grasp is described to freeze projectiles mid-flight and convert them into health for himself, this being a perfect ability for an all-out fight. Also, he can throw rocks at people. And seen in things like emotes, he can even use them to create small platforms and stuff like that. His ult, Gravital Flux, describes this being his full power. During his ult, he manipulates gravity, gaining the ability to fly, immobilize his enemies immediately, and can throw them down to the ground helpless. Through many of these abilities, Sigma is summoning black holes. His ability to do this, and the lack of knowledge on how far this could extend to, it's likely Sigma wins the overall fight, either summoning a literal black hole and absorbing everyone, or using a more continuous form of his ult, and just repeatedly slamming the characters up and down and up and down until he eventually wins. Alright, well that's gonna do it. I do hope you enjoyed, and let me know who you think would win down below. Thanks, and goodbye.